Good morning, I'm Dave Price. This morning, we see how quickly things move in politics. Monica Vernon tells us why she is already a candidate again. Plus, we'll try a little something different, a little mystery at the end of the show. But first, Governor Terry Branstad got his say earlier in the week with his annual Condition of the State address. Now we let someone else have her say. This morning, it is Sue Dinsdale. She's the executive director of the Iowa Citizens Action Network. Good morning to you, making your first appearance here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave.
It's nice to have you here. So you heard the governor's address on Tuesday, and you thought what?
I thought that he did not really address the issues that are important to Iowans. Bullying is important. The things he talked about are important. But what's really important is helping working families, building up our middle class, and those things start with things like raising the minimum wage, protecting health care, Social Security, Medicare, all of the things that people in the middle class need so they can either stay there or get there.
Let's start with the minimum wage. That is something, if you look at the polls, the overwhelming majority of people back raising the minimum wage.
Exactly.
It didn't go anywhere in the State House last session.
Correct.
There are now more Republicans in the Iowa House than there were before. The governor didn't mention it as part of his condition of the state. So why should people have any optimism that that will go anywhere this session?
Well, I'm hoping that there's a groundswell, that people contact their legislators and talk about it at the town hall meetings that they have, and let them know that this is really something that Iowans want. We've have a coalition of organizations throughout the state. It's Raise the Wage Iowa, and we've worked on it for the last several months. We had a couple of our state senators take the minimum wage challenge, trying to live on the minimum wage. I actually tried to live on the minimum wage and lasted a little over a day because my car broke down. And I think once people realize what it takes to live in the state of Iowa and how much it would help our economy overall, it will become an issue in the State House.
That issue is interesting to me because, like I said, if you look at the poll, and the Des Moines Register had a poll on this, and it's very lopsided in the fact that people want it. Democrats ran a lot on this issue last year, but by and large, Democrats didn't win.
Right.
So you have, on one side, it looks like Iowans want it, but when push came to shove at the ballot box in November, they didn't necessarily use that as a way to go for the candidate in their choice.
I would say this election was very interesting. It, when you looked at the issues, it seems like people would vote one way, but when you look at the candidates that we voted for didn't really go in line in step with the issues that seem to be important to Iowans. So I think a lot of it is messaging.
Okay, you talk a lot about the middle class. Now you talked about Social Security, Medicare. Primarily, those are federal issues.
Correct.
So there's, not really a lot, perhaps, that's going to happen with the State
True.
House. What else, when you're talking about the middle class, what else are they not talking about? Is the governor not talking about that your group and others will try to push him on?
Well, I think it's important that we protect working families, and whether that's with wage theft, job security, making sure that people are treated fairly in the workplace. We are hoping to have a workers' summit later this spring in coalition with several other organizations and organized labor to talk about these issues and just keep hammering away at it.
Talk about wage theft. That is something that Senator Branstad was talking about this past week. And it can happen in a series of different ways, but one of the things, as he mentioned, is you get to the end of your tenure at a job, you move on to the next, they don't have much incentive, he's arguing, for you to cut you that final check.
Right.
So people are missing out there. Sometimes they're just not paying you what they said they were going to pay you. Don't we already have laws that would protect you from these kind of things? You can just, if nothing else, you can go sue for this, right?
Right, and we have laws, but we really don't have consequences. I think the bottom line is you can sue if you have the means to hire an attorney and go through that process and wait however long it would take to get your wages, but you just get your wages. There are no damages. There's nothing that prevents the employer from doing it again. because next time they'll just do the same thing. So we need to have some teeth.
You mentioned that your group will work with some of the unions on these events next month and elsewhere. Are the unions, are they losing their power? Are they losing their say, both at the State House and just kind of nationally? You see that fewer people are part of unions anymore.
Right.
Are they just not the force they once were?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the type of work that's out there. And I think that organized labor is seeing that they need to change who they're organizing. You know, manufacturing is not what it was, definitely in Iowa and in the country. And that's where a lot of their power came from.
Where do you see them going? What do you think their new direction is?
Well, I don't know. I think that's, you know, I'm not a union organizer, but I'm sure that they have lots of ideas about that.
All right, almost everything we talk about in politics in our state for 2015 has 2016 implications. When we come back, Sue, and specifically Story County, where she lives, bringing in Bernie Sanders. We'll ask her why, plus what Democrats want to see come caucus time. We'll get a little bit into 2016 when we come back.